I am so excited to have another guest. Each time we welcome a guest on a Superwoman Handbook, it is just, especially one international, because this started as just a love note for my daughter and to have women from all over the world, especially now from Australia. How did you come to find yourself in this place in the world, helping women the way that you do?
Thank you for a beautiful intro. And yeah, good morning or good afternoon to America or around the world. I'm based in Australia and I was born in the Czech Republic. So this is an international release. And yeah, so I was born in 80s in the Czech Republic. And after I finished my university, I felt a strong urge to come to Australia. So my friend was already in Australia and she invited me to spend the summer with her. And ever since I experienced the summer in Australia, the sun, the beach, the environment, the best coffee in the world, as we call it, I just fell in love with it and decided to come to study. So I studied English and found a love. I had a wedding and gave a birth to a little girl in 2017. But actually the relationship was challenging. So we separated when she was 2.5 and it was during the COVID years. So now we fast forward a little bit further. During the lockdown, actually, I started dating again. So I find another partner and I got pregnant again. So now I have 2 daughters. But somewhere there, and I think it wasn't just myself, but during the COVID, a lot of us had awakening. And my awakening wasn't to like a glorious ta-da. My awakening was, wow, I think I'm repeating a same mistake. And even if I'm going with a different person and trying to do all the right moves in life, I feel like something's not working. And even though I changed countries, even though now I speak a different language, even though, well, I felt in a relationship and thought I learned from it, I feel like there is something which I'm carrying over. So I did that deep dive into my patterns and I skipped, the ugly parts, but it was actually quite difficult for a time because when I made this inquiry, I was still in a relationship. The co-parenting with my ex-husband was very difficult. Like there was a lot of drama, court cases and things which were overwhelming in my life. And most of all, the sensation of being me was so scary, so hard. I remember even telling myself, wow, this is got out of control and I am feeling like I am in the book. But the worst of all, I would not even read this kind of book. I wouldn't reach out for this genre. And that's when I thought my life needs some healing. And I knew that I can't do it anymore by myself. So I started reaching out to, for help and asking myself, like, how can I navigate through what felt like a lot of pain? So to ground it for someone who is listening so they can kind of have a sense of how it felt to be Ivana in 2022 or 3. I felt really disconnected and like in a lot of fog. So I had big decisions to make, but I was unable. I was disoriented and I didn't know what is true, what is my intuition telling me. So it was really, really difficult to navigate my life. And it turns out that I was pushing down my real feelings while I thought I'm doing the best things by others. So it felt like almost like I was feeling other people's feelings and trying to settle them rather than feeling my own feelings and guide myself through life based on what is good for me. So that was how I experienced it and how I kind of started awakening to the fact that I have to live my life and not someone else's. Does it resonate?
You were people pleasing.
Yeah, I was. And I was empathetic with others and enmeshed with, it felt uncomfortable in my body when I made someone disappointed. It felt very, very hard to say no because I felt I will be rejected or felt like I will make someone angry. I will make someone disagree. And I was not able to communicate that clearly because that fear of being rejected, making someone uncomfortable was stronger than my own discomfort, saying no or going along with the plan B.
Wow, hearing you say that really resonates because my childhood trauma is abandonment. And so I would do anything to protect abandonment above all. And so that was the first step in my decision tree for everything. Is this going to protect or hurt abandonment?
Mm,
Because me, the person, I could take anything. I could take any hit. I could take any hurt, but that wound couldn't take anything. So I would protect it at all costs, even if that meant pleasing people and
yeah.
making them happy above my own happiness. So I can definitely resonate with that strong desire. And it didn't feel, until I recognized it, it didn't feel wrong at the time. It felt 100% like this
Align.
is how I survive.
Mm,
This is how
yeah.
I live another day.
This is a good decision. Yeah, 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 yeah. I relate as well. For some reason, I had to also break through the limiting belief that someone else's needs are higher than my own because I felt them stronger. I felt them more important than my own because just as you said, like I can solve anything, but how I was solving it was numbing my own
Mhm.
body because it was so overwhelming, so hard, and so overwhelming to actually be in my body that I got really good at shutting it down. And it's a stress response or
Mhm.
survival mechanism, which is really hard to notice because the difference between, like, yeah, I'm fine, no, that's okay, you broke up with me, or I just got resignation from work, or, let down from work, or I had bad news. No, I'm fine. I don't feel anything. I don't feel pain. So I feel that I'm okay. I'm like great at coping. I'm great at holding space for others. But
Mhm.
later on, I realized I'm actually disconnecting from feeling it. So my journey to after I woke up from this and noticed this is my reaction to feel the yes, to feel the no when I'm angry,
Feel the
describe
yes and the
yeah.
no.
Yeah. Describe how I feel. Why do I feel like this? And it felt like I was born again. So then, for example, you hear there's red flags in relationship. Like, yeah, but how do you know they're red in black and white world? So as soon as I start describing the emotions in my body and feel them, that's as I was born again. That's why it's probably called awakening, because then you have the ability to actually notice that, like, this one matters, the one I'm in, this body, and it actually gives me a lot of information throughout the day.
And so that's kind of what you do when you coach with your clients. You kind of, because like for me, I would see red flags all day long, but the red flags didn't matter as long as they
Mm,
weren't directly impacting that trauma. As long as
got it.
abandonment wasn't impacted, the red flags were just decor on the beach. I didn't care about them.
Yeah, collecting, collecting them.
Exactly, exactly. So it sounds kind of like that's the work you do with your clients, and that's the journey that you've gone on yourself.
Yeah, healing the emotions. And what is very important, because if you have piled up the emotional stress, the overwhelm, how I would describe it to another person, it's like if your pot is boiling and the fog, which I could feel as well, it's all the steam which is kind of not allowing you to see clearly. That's the fog. Unable to make a decision, unable to connect with your intuition, unable to feel the yes or no and be upfront with it, unable to dream big, unable to make the right career choice or the partner choice. So that is clear, causing us the feeling of being lost or disconnected or foggy in life. So what I love to do is kind of open up the lid a little bit and let out the steam which is built up from years and years and years, the post-trauma, the difficult situation, whatever is there. So when we open the lid up and let the steam out, then you have more clarity. The water stop bubbling and you have the calm inside, and you realize, like, there's nothing wrong with you, and all the insights which are coming to you are from inside of you, from your own wisdom, from your own intuition. But at first we are scared to go and feel the feelings because we were not taught how to do it. We don't have tools to support us, or simply we just want to hold someone's hand who has been through that transformation and who can navigate that space. So I'm just holding someone's hand and going bravely, because I rely on protocol from own experience, from the certification that I undergo, as well as like going there myself, so I can witness someone and walk along with them. So that's the work I do. And the healing part is once you are witness, once you realize you can hold difficult conversations with someone or go deeper within yourself and hold yourself with a discomfort of feeling grief, of feeling, that the close to being abandonment or close to scaring someone, close to saying no and feeling like someone will reject me or I will lose love. And if you can hold that emotion in real life, what you see is the transformation, and you no longer feeling like you have to do what you've done before. Because even though intellectually we would love to have a different reaction, let's say stand up for myself, say no, like why didn't say anything? Because my body froze, because my body is not comfortable to say that no. And in that situation, the best I can do is just stay quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm upset about being quiet. So through the healing journey, what I learned is train my body to feel the emotion, to feel, a healthy anger, to feel how no feels in my body. And with training my nervous system to be okay, how it showed up in a real life is that I could have a discomfort. I could have a difficult conversation. And it started actually with healthy people and a healthy relationship. So my first disagreement was with my counselor, and I was unhappy about something, and I was just like, okay, this is a person who will get it. And so I follow, the recommended sentence. I felt, so it's not like you hurt me. So this is what happened and this is how I felt. So you described, you were a little bit late, or, you touched on a topic which was in a way which I didn't think it was sensitive, and it made me feel that I can't trust you anymore. Those are just examples. So I brought that disagreement to my counselor, to her, and watched how a healthy person can react. And then I was like, oh, okay, I can do it. I can do it with safe people. And when you are scared to set your boundaries, it might not just be because you're unable to say no, but because you are scared of the reaction. Then you kind of like, okay, what is it really? Like, if I'm unable to set the boundaries and I tried and it always goes the same way, his reaction, or that could be even female best friend's reaction, who is defending or denying or gaslighting, there is a lot of strategies. And let's just not blame the other person. They might have unhealed wound as well. So if we just go with curiosity, well, this person can resolve conflict
Mm-hmm.
calmly. This person can hold the space if I bring up no. What else can I do, right? So you start exploring. So we can go like even more vulnerable and say, listen, I think we need some help from a third person who can, resolve our differences or how we see conflict, or we need to bring more safety to our conversations. Do you have any suggestions? And start other options to resolve the conflict. And if there is an ability to resolve the conflict, you can also establish inner boundaries. So if it's no longer safe for you to have boundaries outward with someone, you can then give yourself boundaries. How much time you spend with that person, or how much you rely on their advice, and how much their opinion will affect your decisions and things like that. So that's or in whichever way, like how far you have to go, whether you even go no contact and don't communicate with that person at all.
That you bring up the difference in curiosity and judgment. That's been something that I never thought about as an adult. Curiosity, I think about like a little kid asking questions. I never think about as an adult being curious. I think we reflex to judgment because we've lived life. We know everything. And so I was
Mm.
so glad to hear you kind of bring that up, because the answer can surprise you when you are curious and actually ask why. Why is your child not washing the top of their hair? Because they have a sensory problem versus they're just trying to be a pain in the butt and not wash their hair, or whatever the issue is. So I love that you bring that up. And I love that you bring up not trusting your intuition. And I wanted you to kind of expand on that a little bit, because it's kind of hard to ask the question. So I'll just put it out there. How do you know? How do you know when it's safe to trust your intuition?
sometimes I think, uh, yeah, I want to just go back on the curiosity. Actually, I had a breakthrough with my daughter, and it was beautiful because, she was just like, I don't want to wash my hands. And then I realized, like, it wasn't about washing her hands. It was about the cold water, because she imagined, like, now it's winter, and like she had the thought of like, I don't want to be cold. So by, holding the space, like, let the tears come out, let me calm down. I was just like, oh, it wasn't about you don't want to wash your hands. You just had the fear of the cold water on your hands. So sometimes the curiosity is essential for, resolving that disagreement or that conflict, or understand another human being. Some people let us if they feel safe, and some people won't let us if they don't feel safe. So some, even through our, best intention with our loved one or with our partner, we, set the perfect day out, and we ask the right questions, but they don't feel safe either with us in that environment or with themselves to go to that journey within. You can do anything, like, to your best knowledge,
Mhm.
to get to the root of why they're defending, or why they feel like they're avoiding, or whatever you think is the trigger, but they will not open up. And that's okay. Well, we can't always like come to the roots with everyone. And that's probably where we have to kind of let go. And empathetic people feel like they want to save everyone. And I've been there myself, like when he's like, but I know he's a nice guy, but he just needs a little help. And I got hooked up on the idea of fixing someone, because I know exactly
Everyone.
it's just his childhood trauma. And if I fix that, then he will be lovely and so
Mhm.
gentle and generous and loving, we'll just fix this little thing and live happy ever after. And that's, yeah, probably why I stayed and forgive and give, and
Yeah.
went too far with it, because I thought I have it in me to heal someone's deep childhood wound.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, we are not everyone's healer.
I love that you picked the word safe, that people have to feel safe
Yeah.
to share that, and that is key. And doing the back work in the relationship to create the history where that safety lives, to do that. I like that you kinda hit on that, because that is key.
Yeah, and it's very hard because, for example, if we look at some people being addicted to overpowering or bringing some other people down as a way of bringing themselves up, that's their way of soothing themselves. So if you come with that gentleness, kindness, understanding, and that fixing energy, you actually just feed the addiction, in a sense of like, the more you're trying to do it, the more they consume it. And instead of kind of them like going deeper and feel like safe to tender to that wound, they feel kind of energized to repeat the same cycle rather than going deep within themselves to heal the childhood wound. So that's the self-fulfilling, how is it called? A repeating cycle in abusive relationship, where even if your intention as the empathetic person, and let's say the one who wants to save
Mhm.
the person who is creating the controlling spin on it, it just always kind of brings a relief rather than the healing the core. And the other very important part is, like, you have to realize, as the person who is feeling like the healer, the empathetic one, the deep one, the calming one, you actually in a sense want to control as well. You want to control how they feel. You want to bring them, you want to make them feel better, because if they feel better, you feel satisfied, because you have that need to, feel, protect, fix, repair. And when you're not getting it, you kind of hooked on that cycle as well with them. And your failure is the discomfort you're feeling, and that's why you go for another round, another round, another round. So I wouldn't, just reveal that to
You're
and bring
both
it
repeating
awareness. Yeah.
yourselves. Yep, it's and I like how you put it.
Unconsciously. So
Yes,
it's
yes.
really hard to
Until we
spot it.
have conversations like this, where we really identify them. Even Taylor Swift wrote a song about it. She's like, "God doesn't need to fix you. I will take care of it. I will fix you." all of you. And it is, and I like how you put it that as fixers, we go in and that's something I've struggled with. I struggle with, I will fix you and I think I'm bringing medicine and I'm
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
fix the wound, but I'm
yeah,
not. I'm just pouring salt on the wound. I should say I'm pouring sugar on the wound, making it grow bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm giving it, fuel to grow with. And it's a cycle. So I'm so glad that you kind of hit on that and articulate it. And I love that you're doing the role that you're doing in helping women or helping people identify that it will continue to repeat itself. Whether you're the one who's on the empathy side giving or you're on the other side taking, there's no way out of that besides doing the hard work of getting out of that.
yeah. So that is the self-inquiry. Usually it's the empathetic person, but I don't want to generalize, who has the ability to kind of wake up from that and say, okay, I have to do something different, because they have the ability to see the bigger picture or go within. Like they're more willing to kind of blame themselves and go like, oh, okay, something's wrong with me. So a lot of my clients are coming like, what's wrong with me? I can't, have a successful relationship, or attract people where I feel like I'm mothering them.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, well, there's nothing wrong with you, but I can understand why this is how it feels. Let's have a look deeper. What was your role models? What were your relationships in early childhood with your mom and dad? How your mom treated your dad and how your dad treated your mom, and where this all began. So through a modality which is called root cause therapy, I
Okay.
go to the origin of the first imprint of your limiting beliefs, of your wound of abandonment. Sometimes it's yours, sometimes it's even deeper through past generations, where through the unspoken words, through
Hmm.
unspoken modeling, role modeling, and things in your ancestral lineage, or through your parents, grandparents, how they showed each other what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. You inherited some kind of a view of the world, view of the relationship, and we can go there and have a feel to heal it.
It is just so amazing to me as I have these conversations that we are in 2025 and we have the internet and airplanes, and we're still carrying a lot of the trauma from our ancestors who chased bison with sticks and made fire. And it truly reminds me how human and how basic we are and how simple our relationships can be when we break them down to their common denominators, that we're able to carry these things through. And I'm just so happy that there's people like you in the world
Mm.
who have walked the walk and are bringing, because you're right, there's no way you cannot hold someone's hand the way you say it's so perfect. You can't hold someone's, well, first, you can't be brave enough to go back and bring water to someone who's in that place. You don't even know where to find them. If you haven't already come out of it, you
Yeah.
know how to find them and to hold their hands. So I'm so glad that you're doing that. And then to put it in a way where it is, you're not broken, there's not something wrong with you, but you will continue to do this if you do not break these cycles and you don't do this self work. And so I'm so happy that you are at a place where you're able to do this, which is kind of where I want you to share with the audience. Let's say someone's listening and they're like, I want to work with you.
Mhm.
I need you
Mhm.
as a coach in my life. Where can they find you online and kind of work with you?
Yeah. So my website is Ivana Care, IVANCARE.com. And I'm also hosting a lot of events for women. I have a women's circle where I work through like an online workshop, sometimes in person, but probably for your audience, it will be better if we catch up on the internet. So that's also on my website or through my Instagram, which we will link under the show notes. I'm also on Facebook, and I'm curious. On my website, you can download 5 steps to bounce back from breakup, which is a free guide, just like a quickly orient you where you are on your healing journey and what are the appropriate tools for that stage. It's not a race, but it's kind of know where you are and start somewhere. So it just gives you that map of what could be the next step and what are the tools for now. So if that sounds some exciting, feel free to grab it on my website for free. I also want to mention that you touched on a very important topic, why we have all these fantastic tools in 2025 and the gadgets and the internet and way to communicate. It's amazing how quickly the awareness share between people, so they can listen to podcasts, attend webinars from people who are overseas and women, and share with women advice on how to improve their situation, how to understand their trouble. And the step number one is that awareness, and also getting ourselves from shame, because a lot of the time we feel like we uniquely hurt and we're alone. So what is my mission is bringing that awareness and that information out there. If you are alone, it feels so big. But as soon as you have community, or at least one person who you can speak to, who can understand, who can go to the depth of, like, this is what really upsets me, the problem starts shrinking. So if that would be one advice I would have, is just don't stay alone with that inner shame, and find a safe person who you can talk to, and the problem or the feeling of you're alone will start disappearing.
I didn't mention this to you in our pre-interview or even when we were chatting earlier. Shame is not a word I've used in my adult life. It's not ever a word I've used to describe myself or my feelings, but it has come up more in the last 7 days. And so I'm definitely one. I believe that things happen when they're meant to happen. And so our listeners are needing to hear that shame is not something they have to live under the shadow of, not something that they have to be. I don't want to say fearful of, but owned by is kind of the best way. And so when you mentioned it, I was just like, wow, like
Yeah.
this is something that is definitely a thread we need to talk about more. It's more interlined. Like we were just talking about mom shame and just the shame we feel being a mom that we shouldn't for all the different ways. Shame we feel around sex, shame we feel around our appearance, so much shame. And it's just not something. So I love that you brought that up.
Especially in relationship to toxic relationship,
Yeah.
the shame
Yeah.
is projected feeling of the perpetrator on us. So a lot of the time we feel other person's shame and take it as our own. So I just want to bring awareness that not all your shame is your shame. A lot of the shame is projected, and you carry that and like kind of sit with it for so long without actually knowing that you can just drop it. It's not you're not unlovable. You didn't hurt anyone. And you speaking, like, this is fascinating that people who suffered something, like abuse in life, they feel scared to tell the truth. Why the people who did cause some injury are not even scared to say a lie. What a breakthrough this is. Like, the lie is so easy to tell, while the truth is so hard to even say out loud. You have to kind of work through a lot of layers and healing before you even able to confess to someone. So yeah, just want to again, like, bring awareness to this subject, that if that's how you feel, you're not alone. A lot of victims and a lot of people who experience something difficult find it hard to talk about it. And those are the reasons why. So just take it as it is. It's not you. It's not because you deserve it. It's not because it was yours. It's not because there's something wrong with you or you're broken. It's just because it's hard for victims to say it out loud, what happened to them. So, it does take a courage. If you have, someone safe to talk to, then I advise to find the courage and speak to someone, because if you're in it alone, it's very, very, very heavy.
I love that. And I love that you bring the perspective and the awareness that the shame can be projected
Yeah.
and it's not. I love that because I think as women, we think we're like, I got it. I can carry more. And we never stop to think, are we carrying something we shouldn't be carrying? We
Mhm.
just carry it because it's been handed to us. So
Yes.
I love that you bring that perspective. And We'll make sure that we get all of your contact information in the show notes so that folks can reach out. And I just love how we've been able to bridge women around the world together to kind of
Yeah.
find their place. And just the fact that you bring up shame, and we're I'm on Tuesday and you're on Wednesday. I mean, we're on different days of our lives, literally, and we're talking about the same things. It just further reminds me how connected we are as humans and women in this journey. So I so appreciate your time and just sharing your story with us today.
And thank you so much for your gorgeous project, which turns into something bigger than what it was at the beginning. And I love that idea. It really resonates. And just collecting all the information and experience is so valuable. Yeah, I just want to say a big thank you for what you do, because it's truly a gift. And you had to find a courage as well. It's not a small thing to do. So thank you.
Thank you.